insofar as Comrade Gavin is concerned, as he made the contribution to develop this country. I had an opportunity to be invited by him to where his operations are. He wanted me to come and see what he was doing. I was still the president of the country then, very interested to see what are we doing in terms of changing South Africa to be what we wanted to be. I was amazed by the operations, so advanced, with almost every answer to the challenges we have. And I was very happy to see him after a while, a comrade making such visible contribution in our country, and a brother and a friend. He's the only one I remember who has come to my village, to my little home called Nkandla. Just to see how this Nkandla that was talked about looked like. He wanted to see it for himself, and we had a good time. Director of the program, I was introduced to the Watson family and indeed the brothers by one of my leaders, Comrade Philiso Mzwayi. That is to meet them, to see them, having heard their name before. Mzwayi, who among other things headed the intelligence of the African National Congress, he was bowing out of that position. I had been identified to occupy that position. He had to introduce me, therefore, to a number of sectors, units, everything that had to do with intelligence. And indeed, when he introduced me, he said, I have a unit of comrades in the Eastern Cape who are operating very effectively. There were other comrades who worked under Mzwayi, who then had to operate under me in exile, who I think were servicing these comrades more directly. And firstly, when we met these comrades, surprisingly, bandibulisa, bexhosa, ewe qaba, molo, bathini, bayaqobisa nje. Only to find they intermingled English and Xhosa as they were explaining very complicated things. And I had to work with them for a long time. And these comrades were one of the most advanced units in terms of reporting on intelligence. And of course, as I worked with them, I came to know these were not just recruited at the time. They've been members of the African National Congress for a long time, and they were operating underground. They were in fact recruited to this specialized work of the ANC by comrades who knew them. And indeed, it did not take long for me to appreciate the quality of work that they were giving. Very incisive in terms of the information. One of the advantages was that they could move any thinking about the color line, across the color line. But also, as business people, they were able to get the kind of information that because of the color line, other units and other comrades could not get. And therefore, they were very important in the life of the African National Congress Intelligence Department. It did not take long to see how committed these comrades were to the struggle to liberate South Africa, but also to the policies of the African National Congress. But they were also a unique unit because they could put their additional point of view in a manner that would not ignore. They said more than any other time, Comrade Ronnie, because he was very agile in movement and very good in giving reports, written and unwritten, very well. They became the big asset of the African National Congress. What you said as an attempt to their lives, we saw it in action. When Comrade Ron was in Botswana in a hotel, an enemy operator came to kill him. Ronnie being Ronnie, he stood up and dealt with that enemy, removed the gun from his hand, and overpowered him, and therefore succeeded to live. In other words, the enemy hated this family to a point that they wanted them to be killed. And I believed when we got our freedom in 1994, I had thought that we had passed that chapter. We had passed that chapter. It was now time to rebuild South Africa. And I'm saying this because I've become very worried in the manner in which many comrades are dying these days. Particularly knowing as I do how some intelligence organizations operate. And I'm hoping that the investigation will indeed prove us wrong, who are worried. The report that the family gave me has a lot of gaps in the manner in which Comrade Gavin was found and how he died. And since the investigation is still ongoing, I hope there will be a report that will satisfy all of us. There are comrades who have died very suddenly, who are seen to be some obstacle in one form or the other. Perhaps some time will come for some truths to come out. There are comrades I would not want to count who have left us very mysteriously.